Welcome to Hope for Recovery, a 12-step workshop, sponsored by the Saturday Serenity Meeting of Eating Disorders Anonymous, which is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they might solve their common problems and help others to recover from their eating disorders. Information about EDA can be found at 4eda.org, the number 4eda.org. Handouts for all sessions of this workshop can be found at edahopeforrecovery.com. And now, here's today's workshop.
Welcome to week 8 of the 14-week Hope for Recovery workshop. Today, we're finishing our discussion of step 4 by examining the remaining inventory topics. My name is Regina. I live in San Diego, California, and I'm a grateful recovered member of Eating Disorders Anonymous. I'm the chairperson of the Hope for Recovery Workshop Committee. Please join me for a moment of quiet while I take a deep breath to calm myself down. Thank you. Please remember to turn your camera off if you're moving about or doing anything distracting. This workshop is being recorded to create an audio version, so if you choose to share, your voice may be heard on the recording. As a reminder, the handouts for this session are available at edahopeforrecovery.com. So I'm now having the great pleasure to introduce a fairly new friend of mine, Greg, who's going to be our leader today.
Okay, thank you, Regina. Hello, my name is Greg, and I live about an hour north of Toronto in Canada, and I'm recovering from an eating disorder. Last week, we talked about fear, and the homework was to work on a fear inventory. Today, we will begin our discussion of the 6 remaining inventory topics. Definitions have been drawn from the EDA Big Book and experiences of EDA members. Let's go through them one at a time. I have asked Donna to read the next 8 slides.
Thank you, Greg. My name is Donna. I'm a grateful recovering member of EDA. Self-pity, reasons I felt or feel sorry for myself. Shame, things or conditions for which I felt or feel ashamed, though I am not responsible for them. Be sure to include situations where you were bullied or abused, and anything for which you felt or feel embarrassed, such as childhood poverty, your personality, i.e. too introverted or extroverted, your gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or other people's problems. Shame is about who I am, the feeling of being innately bad or damaged. Examples include having big feet, skinny legs, a big belly, being stupid because I was told I was by my teachers, parents, siblings, spouse, being mentally ill, having ancestors who did unconscionable things, having family members who are not successful by my own or society's standards, having children who perform poorly in school or who do not play well with others, guilt or harms done, a feeling related to something I have done or am doing. Be sure to include lies, cheating, including infidelity, theft, including non-payment of taxes, property damage, and any emotional or physical damage done to others. Confusion, situations where I felt or still feel abandoned or bewildered. Frustration, things that made or make me angry, even if I had or have no resentment in connection with them. Despair, reasons for hopelessness, past and present.
Thank you, Donna. For each of these 6 inventory topics, you'll complete the same worksheets and columns we've covered with your resentment and fear inventories. Examples of completed worksheets for each of these 6 topics can also be found in Appendix D of the EDA Big Book, and we will take a look at some of these together shortly. On a separate piece of paper for each of the 6 topics, brainstorm sources of the following: self-pity, shame, guilt or harms done, confusion, frustration, and despair. These topics will likely include issues you've written about in your resentment and fear inventories, as well as issues you haven't addressed before. Overlap is to be expected. After you have written your brainstorm lists, choose 2 to 10 items from each list and write 1 per row in each source column. In the reason/cause column, explain briefly why you feel this way. What reasons from your history might underlie this feeling? For the at-risk/affects my column, list everything and everyone that is threatened or affected by the attitudes or actions you take or do not take because of this feeling. Use the same categories from the resentment inventory to identify areas that are affected by this feeling: self-esteem, pride, ambition, finances, security, sexual or intimacy needs, family and social relationships. For the my error/my part column, consider the errors in thinking and actions underlying each feeling. For the resolution column, use your new perspective provided by God, your higher power, or higher purpose to determine what you can do to make things right and promote healing. Ask what a person of integrity and dignity would do if they found the courage to act despite these feelings. Consider using a prayer such as, quote, "Please remove my confusion and direct my attention to what you would have me be," end quote. Note, this prayer is not considered appropriate for guilt. Guilt signals a need for amends, sometimes to ourselves as well. When we feel guilt, we find that we can admit and correct our mistakes. So at this time, please grab your green EDA Big Book. And we're now going to ask volunteers to read 1 example about each of the remaining 6 inventory topics. Volunteers, after you read, please share for 1 to 2 minutes about insights gained from the reading, or feel free to pass. So let's turn to page 532 in Appendix D of the EDA Big Book, which is about self-pity. And I'm going to give you a moment to do that. It's in the back of the Green Book in the appendix, page 532. So Sandy, which example would you like to read for us?
Well, hi. I think I'd like to do the one on health today.
Okay, great. So I will cue you. And first I'll give the definition: self-pity, reasons I felt or feel sorry for myself. So source.
Health.
Reason/cause.
Impacts from past behaviors now limit what I can do physically.
At risk/affects my.
Ambition, pride, self-esteem, family and social relationships. I feel remorse.
My error/my part.
Fear, focusing on and worrying about what is not instead of being grateful for what is. Hand-wringing.
Resolution.
Remember, none of us get out alive, and many normal people have health issues. Be grateful for what I have instead of worrying about what I lack. I think in EDA, this was a big one in my inventory. But what I've come to settle on here is acceptance of my age, my health conditions, my genetics, and what I did. I'm doing the best I can today. I'm seeking the help I need, and I take pretty good care of myself now, thanks to this program. I pass.
Thank you, Sandy. So let's now turn to page 534. And Rachel, which example do you want to read?
I will read the rape.
Okay. And shame is defined as things for which I felt or feel ashamed, though I am not responsible for them. So source?
The rape.
Reason/cause.
I did not ask for it, and I did not deserve it, but I still feel dirty and ashamed at times.
At risk/affects my.
Love and intimacy, self-esteem, trust, I experience fear, anger, revulsion.
My error / my part.
Fear, thinking that I am fundamentally different from others who have been spared this experience. Failing to forgive myself for lapsing into victimhood occasionally, and for not taking full responsibility for my recovery.
Resolution.
Expect that I will still feel trauma at times, use my experience to help others, find my voice, and advocate for victims' rights. So that's an issue that I've carried for well over 50 years. And it's really only in EDA, my third or fourth 12-step program, that I'm able to begin the process of addressing it. EDA goes deep. Thanks.
Thank you, Rachel. Now let's turn to page 536. And Kathy G., which example of guilt would you like to read?
Children.
Okay. And guilt is defined as wrongs I have done or am doing to others. Source.
Children.
Reason / cause.
I judge them harshly and overreact to fears regarding what they do and don't do. I set a bad example. I lose my temper. I yell. I whine and complain. I withdraw. I do the wrong things. I blame them for my emotional states.
At risk / affects my.
Children's health, family relationships, my self-esteem.
My error / my part.
Dishonesty, fear, and selfishness. I demand better behavior from my children than I was capable of at their ages. I have been unreasonable and judgmental. Fear and dishonesty, drama. Behaving erratically because I lose sight of what matters. For my children, that is safety, dependability, love, and acceptance.
Resolution.
Seek the peace and perspective to stop judging. Focus on what is good. Love them where they are now and be grateful. Trying to see things from their perspective. Be honest about my failings, apologize, and resolve to correct my mistakes. Keep doing the next right thing, find the positive, cut the drama. I love these resolutions. I find that a lot of times the resolution column is helpful in more than one situation. And this example has a lot of good nuggets in it that I can use in resolution columns for other issues. And that's what I love. There's a little overlap with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Now let's turn to page 538. And this will be confusion. And Tim, please select and read one example of confusion. Which example would you like to read?
Siblings.
Okay, siblings. And confusion is defined as situations where I felt or still feel abandoned or bewildered. Source.
Siblings.
Reason / cause.
Humiliated and belittled me, scared me for fun, told on me.
At risk / affects my.
Self-esteem, ability to trust, family relationships.
My error / my part.
Selfishness, expected my siblings to come to my defense and aid, mostly because they usually did so. We are only human, and even the best among us fail.
Resolution.
Forgive. Siblings were suffering too, and they did their best they could. I have no right to judge. I don't need siblings to provide for me now. Instead, I commit not to abandon my family members. Yeah, this is something that is still a challenge for me. I think a lot of that family of origin, early childhood stuff still shows up in my relationship with one sibling in particular. And I actively work on this with the support of my sponsor. And I'm looking forward to using this format to see if I can wring it out a bit more. And I'd like to give myself a pat on the back, I guess, for making progress in this area. It's progressed significantly in the last couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And our next volunteer will be Manuela. So please turn to page 540, which is frustration. And Manuela, please select and read one example of frustration. Which example would you like?
Self.
Okay, so frustration is defined as things that made or make me angry, even if I had or have no resentment in connection to them. Source.
Self.
Reason/cause.
I often do not do what I know I should.
At risk/affects my.
Self-esteem, self-trust, family relationships, social relationships.
My error/my part.
Dishonesty, perfectionism, and focus on the negative rather than being grateful for what I can do and how well I do it. I get hung up on what I have not done correctly.
Resolution.
Be grateful to be able to do what I do and for what I do well. Accept that I will not always do as well as I would like. Tell the truth and admit my errors. Find humor, turn thoughts to how to be more helpful to others. I'm just kind of like blown away by the fact that I've just read that, because that's kind of like my life right now. I'm like in a constant state of self-hate and self-pity and just kind of putting myself down for everything I do or don't do. And I'm just really glad to be here and to be reading this. And this is just what's come up for me, and it's like so confronting. It's kind of like, stop pretending like you can do everything right. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Manuela. Now let's turn to page 542, and we now have Judy. Please select and read one example of despair.
I'll read about eating disorder.
Okay. And despair is defined as reasons for hopelessness, past and present, and then share for 1 to 2 minutes if you wish to. Source.
Eating disorder.
Reason/cause.
Kept failing at recovery despite doing everything I thought I needed to do.
At risk/affects my.
Life itself, self-esteem, ambition for usefulness, happiness, peace, freedom, the promises.
My error/my part.
Dishonesty, not willing to be completely honest with myself about what was and wasn't working for me. Bring the body and the mind will follow did not work. The steps do not work through osmosis.
Resolution.
I cannot change the past, but I can change today. Rely on higher purpose to help me commit to honor my truth and take care of myself so that I may serve those around me and their greater good to the best of my ability. I chose this because I wrote it and somehow it ended up in the book. That's how I feel. Right. And so, yeah, I've been working on recovery a long time, and I'm still myself. Although when we were reading about like kids back there, like cutting the drama, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm making progress. And so honestly, I feel like I am making progress in recovery.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you all volunteers for sharing through that section. This inventory work often brings up lots of emotions. On page 156 in the EDA Big Book, we are told, quote, our efforts so far have shown us that avoiding our feelings holds no true relief, no real joy, and serves no good purpose, unquote. On the same page, we are told that while the work we are doing will not make us immune to difficult emotions, it will help us develop confidence that we will not need to actively seek escape from these emotions in the future. Feelings serve a purpose, and this is further underlined on page 157, quote, we find we can now turn even heavy emotions to good purpose, regardless of the circumstances, end quote. Many of us can testify that having done this work, we are better able to handle all our emotions, which gives us confidence and helps us feel safer. And now for the homework. Number 1, repeat or pray your 3rd step statement or prayer daily and continue to implement your 10th and 11th step practices. 2, complete brainstorming lists and worksheets for each of the remaining 6 topics. Refer to the examples in Appendix D of the EDA Big Book or more ideas and information. 3, complete your reading of Step 4 in the EDA Big Book, covering page 148 to 158. Wrap up. This is our last week on Step 4, and this week's homework may seem like a lot. It is. Just do your best. No one does it perfectly. Getting it all down on paper is important, but it is not necessary to document every possible connection. If we did, the 4th step inventory could take years. Keep things as simple as possible. You may find much overlap with the work you've done on previous inventories. The same issue often comes up in more than one inventory topic. For example, we can easily feel shame about an incident related to a resentment. In most cases, something that impacts any one part of our lives is likely to affect many other aspects. Now, one caution. Regarding your guilt or harms done inventory, you may be inclined to make amends as soon as you identify and describe your part. We suggest you resist any impulse to make an immediate amends at this point. The topic of amends will be addressed in detail in Step 9. Everyone does this work at their own pace. Whether or not you're keeping up with the homework, you are encouraged to continue with the workshop and are most welcome and wanted here. I would now like to ask our workshop chair, Regina, to join for the next part of the workshop.
Well, thank you, Greg. Great job leading. All right, well, this part of the workshop is where I hope every single person here will hold up their hand and give us a milestone, ask a question, or share something that's on your heart. Please raise your hands. Judy, we'll start with you.
Hi, my name's Judy. I have a desire just to recover from an eating disorder on the West Coast of the US. So it's not my first time through the steps. Am I looking only for new things? Should I be looking at old things? So a little guidance, and then I'll try and think of a milestone. So yesterday in the US was Halloween. We live a block from the main drag, so we get a zillion kids. And I tried to just be joyful in the holiday and not think about, anyway, I mean, these are kids, they should be having fun. So I was trying to my service was making it fun too, not wagging my finger about anything negative. So that was my milestone, my question and my milestone.
Thank you, Judy. Congratulations on your milestone.
Thanks.
If you've written about something before, let's say the man next door, your mother, whatever, and you feel peaceful and forgiveness and resolved, there's no need to write about it again. But if you're still bothered, then I would write it about it again. All right, great question. Tim B.
Mine is a milestone. I am keeping up with the homework and I'm feeling good that I'm being thorough. I know there's an old slogan, half measures availed us nothing, and I'm not accusing myself of being that way in the past, but I just feel like because of this workshop and because of the support, I'm being more thorough and just looking at all the little cracks that I might have ignored at other times. So that's my milestone. Thank you.
Congratulations on your milestone, Tim. Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura with a eating disorder and from Michigan. My question is, so what if we have a source that fits under resentment, shame, confusion, frustration, more than one category? Do we do a separate sheet for each?
Yes, that's suggested. You might get some new insight or a deeper insight or a different perspective. Yes.
Okay.
And
All
that's, it's common. Thank you. Eileen.
Hi, everybody. My name's Eileen. I have an eating disorder. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. And I have to give you kudos for such a beautiful workshop and so well done. It's very clear in what I need to do. My milestone this week was last time we were here. It was suggested I get a sponsor, and I did. So I'm really grateful for that. She's a very wonderful woman who is willing to work with me. And I do have to confess that I've stalled on the fourth step. I missed 1 week, and then it felt like I couldn't get back on track. But I do know that I'm committed to going back and doing the work, because part of my perfectionism is that because I didn't get that done, that I just want to drop out. And I love the part where it was read where please continue. If you haven't done it, please continue. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep coming back. That's part of that issue, that perfectionism that I suffer from, that everything is either all or nothing. And I'm really grateful that I'll do the work. I'm committed to doing the work. I will go back and finish that, but I also want to continue coming along with everybody else. I'm seeing there's great progress ahead for me, and I have hope. I was very filled with despair before the workshop. So I do have to say that it's been a really wonderful experience for me. And thank you to everybody who's made that possible. And I pass.
Thank you, Eileen, and congratulations on your milestone. Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, recovered from an eating disorder. And I'm remembering this part of the step 4, and I had a sponsor who really encouraged me to, I don't remember if it was the top 5 or the top 10, but I had pages of people, and I had done these before, but I was carrying all kinds of embarrassment and shame and all these little emotions that ended up being huge for me. And she had me pick some, do them, and move on. And what I found in the sort of, let's see, a couple of years since then, is that doing this wonderful thing, doing our 10th step, our daily and spot check inventory, I've found that the people and situations that need to show up for me to do this with show up. And I really didn't have to get stuck. I'm the sort of person that starts a journal, does 3 days, and if I don't do day 4, that journal goes away and I have to start a new one. And in this program, I don't have to throw away my recovery because I didn't do it the 4th day in a row. I just kept moving. And that was such a help for me to know that if I missed something, it would show up again, and more will be revealed. So I'm just really grateful for every aspect of this. And I think I'm probably doing step 4 work almost every day because of that wonderful step 10. So thank you for being here. I'm getting so much from every single share.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Mary Beth.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth, recovering from an eating disorder. This is my first time actually sharing or speaking in this workshop, so I'm really nervous. But I sort of wanted to just come clean and say that, you know, I've been in EDA for about 6 months. I got a sponsor right away, but it didn't seem to work out. And I wasn't sure if it was my eating disorder wanting to, like, my resistance for it to work out, because it was my eating disorder wanting to, you know, keep control, or if we genuinely just weren't compatible. That being said, I haven't gotten another sponsor, and I've missed only 1 workshop, but I haven't done any of the homework, none. And like, I feel really like almost not deserving to be here because like I know that recovery is my responsibility, and if I don't do the work, I can't heal. But I guess I also have a milestone that I'm here today, and I'm actually like I'm shaking. I'm so nervous to, speak to 90 people as I'm looking, but to come out and say it out loud and that I'm still here. So that is a milestone, and I'm glad that I'm able to recognize that. But I do really want to get a sponsor and start working these steps because I don't want to be sick anymore. So thank you for letting me share.
You're welcome. Can I respond?
Sure.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that you brought up a lot of things that a lot of people will be able to relate to. So thank you, Mary Beth. And I actually heard some milestones in there.
You're welcome.
Do you said you don't feel completely worthy to be at the workshop? How do you feel
Yes.
about when you're at an EDA meeting? Do you feel worthy to be at an EDA meeting?
Sometimes sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions, like I'm not listening to the message because I'm, I'm going to a meeting every single day, sometimes 2 meetings a day, but like I need to get in there and do the work, and it's really painful. And again, not having a sponsor is a good excuse for me to not do the work because I don't have a sponsor to go over the steps with. But at the same time, I feel like a fish out of water. Like, even though I can relate to everything people say, and like it's such a wonderful program. I guess I'm just like consumed with fear and guilt and shame.
Got it. Well, I will just reassure you that you are more than worthy.
Thank you.
To be with us, and it wouldn't be the same without you, actually. Regarding this thing with the sponsor not working out, that's a disappointing experience, but it's not uncommon. And, I'm not going to say that it was this reason or that reason, but I think I want to just put light on the point that it's not uncommon for a sponsor relationship not to be a good fit. And regarding your feeling stuck and not diving into the work, it has to be the right time. And, in the meantime, we show up and we meet nice people. So big hug.
Thank you.
Okay, Lisa.
Hi, am I on mute?
You're good.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, I've a couple of milestones. One is I stayed away from certain foods today that drive me absolutely nuts, which is just like a miracle. And I made kind of healthier choices for my body, which is just cool. I'm just, listening to the steps tonight and all the different categories, and my stomach is just going around like a washing machine. I am just so, I'm very, very anxious around it. So I kind of, I have an amazing sponsor, and I just thought, hello, ask for help. I asked for guidance because I'm so bad for asking for help because I don't feel worthy. So I asked her. She probably doesn't know yet, but anyway, I did. And because I need help, I'm very overwhelmed. And another milestone is yesterday I was at an EDA meeting and I was feeling absolutely so overwhelmed. And I reached out to another member who's feeling exactly the same as me. So we're 10-stepping each other every night. And we're just filling in the form. And I send it to her, she sends hers to me. And because both of us are just completely swamped. And but just even starting something so small like that, I think, would be really good. I am just, oh my God, my anxiety is just through the roof. And But look, with the help of God, you know, and my sponsor and you amazing people in the workshop, I will get this. So thank you so much for all you're doing. Thank you. And
Yeah.
thank you for the honesty of all the members. It's
Yeah.
bloody hard. It really is. And look, well done us. Yes.
Thank you, Lisa, and congratulations on your milestone. Trish.
Hi, I'm Trish. I have an eating disorder in Bloomington, Indiana, and I am just, my milestone is that I'm here and I keep coming back to the EDA meetings, and I'm still just, I don't expect to get emotional, but here it comes. It's, you know, I'm just so disappointed that I can't handle this myself, that I haven't been able to fix myself or stick to anything, you know, and so there's just this constant tape in my head that's, you know, I'll start tomorrow and I'll figure this out. And, you know, instead of, as some others were saying, you know, reaching out for help. And so I feel like I have to have it figured out or something my way, I guess, before, I don't know, before I feel worthy for help. Or it's scary thinking, it scares me thinking that I would be giving up control, I think, if I ask for help, you know, and give myself over to the programs. So yeah, I really appreciate this workshop and the meetings and everyone who's participating. Thank you.
Can I chat with you for a minute, Trish?
Sure.
If you're not comfortable, we can do it later. Okay?
Sure.
All right. So there's 12 steps and we're on step 4. So I wouldn't anticipate that you would have stopped all your eating disorder behaviors at this point in time. Being willing to like reach out when you need help is like very advanced recovery, in my opinion. Took me certainly a long time to get there, and I just felt you were being a little hard on yourself and maybe having some of that dieting mentality and that abstinence mentality.
Yeah.
So it's hard to drop that, and the sooner you can, the better. And focus on what you are doing instead of what you're not doing. And I think things will go better for you.
Thank you very much.
Audrey.
Okay. Hi. My name is Audrey in recovery with EDA, and incredibly, I get these revelations about myself through this workshop, which is very transforming, little by slowly anyway. My milestone is that one of my AA gals was in need of help, and I caught myself. I said that I would do the service, but it's such an awesome, incredible day in Florida. The weather's so cool and it's so wonderful, and I want to be outside and physical activity. And I caught myself being selfish. And so the milestone is that I kept my commitment with my service work, and I feel better about myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was uplifting for me. And I think I'm always going to remember you, Audrey, little by slowly. Okay, Jill.
Okay, yeah, my name is Jill, and I am recovering from an eating disorder. And my milestone is, first of all, that even though I have to come late sometimes because of work, I come anyway. And regardless, of the homework and not doing it, I decided I'm coming anyway. And for me, that is enormous. I am not willing to judge or punish myself. I'm just sitting with where I'm at. And for me, that is just, I mean, that's just huge. And I feel another shift in that I'm willing to be honest with myself about how I feel about things. And I'm grateful for that. And the other thing I did is, instead of engaging in a behavior, I chose to do what I needed to do to make sure that I didn't go for many, many hours without eating. And I am grateful that I did that. So I just feel like there's this shift. Instead of the rigidity that I have always engaged in, I'm letting go, and I'm just not perfect. And that is a gift. And that's a gift coming from this workshop. And I'm also grateful that I can be sober a lot of years and still be a mess. And for me, that is also a gift. So I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome. Can I share one of my favorite slogans? This is not an EDA slogan. It's perfection is a hope, a dream, and an illusion.
Ooh, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you, honey. Thank you. And I heard some milestones. Congratulations. Laura.
Hi, Laura. I'm in Georgia in recovery, and I was starting to get emotional a few minutes ago, so hopefully I can get through this. This is kind of a gratitude, I guess, and milestone. Last week, I remember being in the meeting and we talked about being gentle. And then about a day or two later, I had the return of the eating disordered behavior. And the next morning, I didn't pick up the bat and I didn't beat myself up. And I remembered hearing the words to be gentle. And I remembered the readings that we went over. And I shared that it had happened. I have two friends, or my sponsor in EDA and a friend in another program, that we exchange gratitude lists every day. And so I put in my gratitude list, you know, that I had dealt with this and I was grateful that I had a program. And then my recovery buddy is what I call her, that I got through this workshop. When we talked, I told her what had happened and she said, "Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to share about it?" And I thought, sure. And I started talking to her and it was like we untangled some things. So I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Laura, are you saying that you learned something when you untangled it with your recovery buddy?
Yes. I had 2 grants that I had to finish last week, and I was just going 90 next to nothing, or full speed ahead. And I remember getting home one afternoon, the afternoon that it happened, the evening, I was exhausted. I got a shower. I was in pajamas in bed by 5:30. I was so exhausted. And I told her, I kept thinking, I need to go get my notebook and write out my 10th step. And I never did. And we talked about that and how I'd let myself get the hungry, angry, lonely, tired thing, didn't deal with it. So I'm so grateful for this workshop and everything that I'm learning here, and the fact that I had that recovery buddy who very gently said, "Let's talk."
Oh, you made my day. You know, eating disorder behaviors that are really thoroughly examined can be pivotal. So go figure. I remember after about a year, I had a big acting out experience, and it was, I've been let go from my dream job. And I was angry. It was an unaddressed resentment. Fortunately, I was doing a lot of service and was able to, like you did, talk about it and resume stability. But yeah, spiritual fitness. Terribly grateful for your share. Good to see you, Laura. All right, I welcome any really hard questions or anybody that's been reluctant to share. Otherwise, we're going to go into our closing and then we'll turn the recording off and have an after meeting. Nicole.
Hi, I'm Michael and I have an eating disorder. The needle in the haystack sponsors. Where are they all hiding? Where do you find them? What mushroom do you look under to discover one? Because I'm like just not sure. I keep, like I've been putting my number in chats at meetings and stuff, but like I don't understand where to find this unicorn creature.
Yeah.
Any advice?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a sponsor to call me and offer themselves. I would be calling people who provided their number that seem attractive to me. And I would go to a lot of meetings, and then everyone I called, I said, do you know anybody? Can you put me on your waiting list? Do you know anybody else? And that's how it went for me. I got a referral through, like that. That's what I got. We started this workshop because at the time it was worse. The sponsor shortage was worse. We had a waiting list at that time, and there were over 100 people, and we started this workshop to give an experience of the steps while people were waiting to find a sponsor. And it sort of morphed into a bigger, different experience perhaps. But I'm sorry, Mikhail. And I would just call, I'd start practicing the tools of EDA and enjoying the meetings and reading the literature and picking people's brains about the steps. And you can get a lot of recovery even until you get a sponsor. Not that it's wrong to put your number out as needing a sponsor, but I think for me it works better when I have the initiative to ask people. Frustrating. I don't know if I've shared at this workshop. It took me 9 months to get a sponsor, which was what it was. And I went to a workshop, not this one. Went to a workshop that actually the founders of EDA put on. And in the meantime, okay. Thanks, Michael. Okay, I don't see any more hands, and it's time anyhow. We will have an after meeting, but right now I'm going to ask Greg to close us out.
Okay, well, thanks, Regina, and thanks for giving me the privilege of leading this today. Volunteers are selected prior to the start of each workshop. Next week, please consider joining us 10 to 15 minutes early to volunteer. Anonymity reminder, please do not share who you've seen here or what others have shared here. Seventh tradition, we have no dues or fees, and this workshop is offered at no cost. However, EDA has expenses and donations are welcome. We hope you will consider a minimum donation of $14 for this 14-week workshop. To donate, go to the EDA website and select the support tab. If you wish to, please join me in saying the we version of the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed today's workshop. More information about Eating Disorders Anonymous can be found at 4eda.org, number 4eda.org. The handouts for this workshop can be found at edahopeforrecovery.com. We encourage you to check out one or more of the many EDA Zoom or in-person meetings. Many of us have found recovery from our eating disorders in these meetings and hope that you will too. Until next time.